Have you ever noticed they started calling you difficult the moment you stopped portraying yourself to make them comfortable? You were never hard to work with. You just stopped apologizing for existing because for a long time you made yourself feel small. You went along to get along. You absorbed all of the microaggression, the double standards, and the tone policing because that's honestly what you thought it took in order to survive. But then something on the inside of you shifted. You spoke up. You asked questions and you stopped over explaining yourself. And the most important thing you started doing was saying no. And that's when they flipped the script. Now you're the problem. So let's break down the meaning of the word difficult because it's just a label that people use when they cannot control you anymore. And it's not about your work ethic, and it never was. It's not even about your attitude. It's about control. And in corporate culture, especially, being agreeable is rewarded. Being compliant is praised. But being self-possessed, that makes people uncomfortable real quick. Why? Because your clarity threatens their comfort. Because your boundaries that you set disrupts the unspoken rule that says you're supposed to stay in your place. And when you stop shrinking, people will lose access to the version of you that served them best. And rather than examining why that bothers them so much, they'll just call you too much. And that's when they start flipping the script on you. And then comes the next phase. Gaslighting. You say that this isn't fair, and they'll respond by telling you that maybe you're too sensitive, maybe you're not a good fit, or you should work on your tone. It's like you'll raise valid concerns, and instead of them addressing the issue, they make you the issue. And after a while, you start second guessing yourself. And I know because I literally was just at this point where I started second guessing myself. I started editing my words and how I said things. I started spending more time trying to figure out how to say something or wondering if I should say something at all. And that isn't communication. It's performance under pressure. And truly, it's exhausting. So now let's talk about the cost of being agreeable and what happens when you keep performing. When you stay agreeable and easy to work with, no matter what the cost is, you pay for it with your peace, with your sleep, with your self-trust. You start abandoning yourself piece by piece by piece by piece. And every single time you silence your truth for the sake of fitting in, it's like you chip away at this version of yourself that actually feels woke. Until one day you don't even recognize yourself. You're like a shell of who you used to be. You're so burnt out, and then you become bitter, and then you become quietly resentful. And that's when the toxicity within the workplace starts, because you start realizing that being easy to work with shouldn't require you losing yourself in the process, because it shouldn't. So the question is like, what do you do about all of this? Like, how do you stay rooted in your power without like spiraling into guilt or fear? Because corporate world is and culture is tough. Like, you really have to be rooted in yourself and know who you are, because otherwise it will eat you up every single time. So here are 3 grounded, practical ways to respond to all of this. Number 1, stop over explaining and start stating. Real life example. It just happened the other day. A girl from my company resigned, and they decided that they wanted to change out schedules. Fine. But she told them, I'm going to work the schedule that I have already had for the last several months, and I'm not changing any of my days. I'm going to work out my notice with the days that were originally assigned to me. And she was matter of fact. She stated what she was going to do. She was not disrespectful, but they took it as disrespect. They took it as, oh, you're not being a team player. Oh, you're not being agreeable with us. And she was just like, no, this is all self-preservation. She stated what she was going to do. And the thing about it is that you don't have to justify your boundary. You just need to name it, and you need to be clear. You need to do it calmly, and you need to do it cleanly. I mean, you don't have to resort to like some sort of disrespect to get your point across. Number 2, Create a internal gaslight filter. That's hard, because it's so much gaslighting that takes place that sometimes it's hard for you to figure out what's genuine and what's not. Because when that guilt starts creeping in, you need to pause and ask yourself, like, am I being rude or am I just being honest? Would someone else, would a man be labeled as being emotional for saying the exact same thing that I'm saying? Is this feedback about my delivery, or is it about their discomfort with my truth? Ask yourself those questions, because those questions will always keep you grounded in reality. Because back to the example that I gave you, again, real life example, this is exactly what she did. She was not rude. She was just being honest. And they felt like she was overly emotional or that she was being a bad team player, but that wasn't the case. And it wasn't about her delivery, because she was very respectful in her delivery. It was about them being uncomfortable about the whole situation and them not getting what they want. Because not every story people tell about you is believable. Like, everybody won't believe it. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind. Number 3, use strategic boundaries without explaining yourself. Not every boundary, as I stated earlier, has to be said out loud. Some of the most powerful boundaries are the ones that's quiet and consistent. Example, if you have one of those bosses that continuously emails you after hours, stop replying. Train them to respect your time. If they're always wanting you to stay late, if they always are wanting you to pick up extra, it's your responsibility to train them to respect your time, to respect you. And, you know, if for whatever reason you're being excluded on things, moving forward, just say, hey, I'd like to be included on the decisions that's being made, especially if it affects you. Right? And I do feel like you need to be short, clear, with no apology attached. Because boundaries don't always require like a confrontation. You can set boundaries without being confrontational. All you have to do is just be repetitive. You have to continue to do the exact same thing in the exact same way, and you will inherently train the people to respect your boundary. Because when you start doing this, when you stop overthinking, when you stop absorbing all of the gaslighting, because if you're young, let's just say, you're gonna experience a lot of gaslighting. It's just what it is. If you're young, if you're a woman, you're gonna experience that. And you have to hold on to your boundaries without drama. Hold them. And I guarantee you that you'll feel a shift. I guarantee you. Yep, you will ruffle some feathers. That always happens when you set boundaries, and when you stop explaining yourself and just kind of shoo off the gaslighting. Oh yeah, a lot of people are gonna feel uncomfortable with you, because that's just the nature. People can't get what they want, then automatically they think that is you. Yes, some people might whisper. Some people might be like, oh, she's hard to deal with. Yep, that's going to happen. I mean, anytime that you're sure in what you do, there's always going to be somebody that's there that thinks that, oh, well, you're just too much. Oh, well, you think your stuff don't stink. That's just going to happen. But it's not your burden to bear. It's not your burden to care what anyone thinks of you. It's literally the only thing that you have to worry about is what you do and who you are and how you operate. That's it. Like, I'll never forget when I was called hard to manage. Like, I don't understand. At the time, I didn't understand. How are you with a corporation for so many years, but yet people that are in positions that make decisions think that you're hard to manage? Because it had nothing to do with my ability to deliver, because I always did. I always had, my patients seeing notes in a timely manner. And it wasn't because I caused any type of chaos. I was one of the most drama-free people. It was because I asked about money, And again, it had nothing to do, it wasn't personal. It had nothing to do with them or anything. It had everything to do with the fact that I feel like I had outworked my original contract. I had outworked the original contract that I signed, and there was no type of reevaluation for pay or anything. So I started questioning that. And the moment of clarity, it cost me my comfort. But what it did do is it gave me myself back. What it did do was it showed me that no matter how hard you work, no matter what you do, like, people will only put a cost on you of what they feel like you're worth. And in my opinion, they didn't feel like I was worth enough. They didn't feel like I was worth what I was asking for, at least. And I can see if I was asking for $1 million, but I was not. I was asking for what was in line, what was reasonable, and, even willing to negotiate. But that didn't matter, because in their minds, I was out of pocket. And that's fine. Because after that, I stopped trying to explain myself. And I just kind of said, okay, well, that's fine. I did not stop doing my job. I did not stop taking care of my patients in the way that I needed to take care of my patients, because that had nothing to do with them. But I did stop making myself so available in order to keep my peace. I did stop trading my voice for safety. I did stop allowing them to dictate what I did, how I did it, and everything else. I did do that. And from that moment on, I never looked back. And yes, it made them feel uncomfortable, because they felt like I was being new. No, I wasn't being new. I just finally understood my worth after being with a place for so many years. I understood what I was worth. And it's bad for them that they didn't understand that. And again, you get to an impasse, and at some point you have to make a decision. And my decision was to move on and never look back. That was my decision. And sometimes you have to make that decision. If someone isn't aligned with, who you are and what you stand for, and tries to mute your voice and overstep all your boundaries, you have to reevaluate that relationship. And it doesn't matter if it's with a corporation. It doesn't matter if it's, with your spouse, significant other, or anything. You have to reevaluate that relationship. So if they're calling you difficult lately, good. Because that probably means that you've stopped abandoning yourself. So who cares? Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them label you. Because you're not here to be this manageable puppet. You're not. You're here to be honest. You're here to be whole. You're not here to just let them do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. Because I guarantee you, they'll try. They'll try, because that's what they do. And I want you to drop in the comments the word enough if this resonated with you. And if you're tired of shrinking to survive at work or in life, don't. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with anyone who needs to hear it, because we are on this journey together. This is a series that promotes clarity, emotional intelligence, and ways to survive the corporate world and life. I mean, this is what we're doing. This is honesty here. We're locked in, okay? Hit that subscribe button, share this, comment. YouTube's going to recommend the video right here, and I definitely suggest that you check it out, because again, it's a part of this series that I'm doing. I appreciate each and every last one of you, because we're not silencing ourselves anymore. Not now, not ever again. My name is Naisha Nicole. Peace.